We're getting a closer look at the damage from a train derailment. We'll show you the cleanup efforts.
The homeless get a chance to share their struggles with a group working to help put an end to the problem.
A massive explosion and fire ripped through a Maryland apartment complex. I'm Adam May in Silver Spring. The latest on the search for those still missing coming up.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
We continue to track breaking news out of Anderson County.
Crews have rescued a man stranded after his boat capsized in the Kentucky River. State police say he got too close to a dam near Lock Road and went over. Now he's under arrest. WKYT's Monique Blair is live by phone with the breaking details. Monique?
Hi, Amber. I'm out here on Lock 5 Road, which is in a rural section of Anderson County. Now, I just talked to firefighters just a few moments ago who are still out here on scene. They tell me they were called out here for a man who was stuck. Once crews got out here, there was a man stuck on the lock that's out here. Firefighters tell us that man says he was riding in his fishing boat when it ran out of gas. Now, he says after the boat ran out of gas, it got stuck on some rocks that are out here on the lock. Emergency crews were able to use 2 boats to rescue that man. Firefighters tell us after the emergency crews and the man got on land, the man was arrested by Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. But right now, emergency crews are not telling us why that man was arrested. Firefighters say that it is illegal to cross over this lock out here, but again, we're not sure if that's the reason behind this arrest. Firefighters tell us the man was very thankful for being rescued, and he was frantic at the time he was being rescued, but firefighters say he is not hurt at this time. Now, we are going to stay out here and continue developing this story and finding out any details that we can. For now, I'm reporting live out here in Anderson County. Monique Blair, WKYT.
All right, Monique, thank you so much. Today, crews began the long process of cleaning up after a train derailment.
23 cars went off the tracks in Falmouth and Pendleton County yesterday. You can see the massive mess it caused in this video that Officer Don Evans shot from Sky First. WKYT's Hillary Thornton shows us the work being done to return the area to normal. It's our top story at 5.
I could almost feel the earth move, I imagine, you know.
It certainly has been the talk of the town here in Falmouth for more than 24 hours now.
Hey, I've never seen nothing like this in my life, you know, and probably never will again, and hope I never do, you know.
The cleanup process well underway as crews work to clear away the 23 cars that ran off the tracks. Heavy machines on site getting the cars upright and, if able, back on the tracks and out of the way. Meanwhile, other cars that are too mangled taking a little bit more work getting lifted up and out of the way. Working to get the cars and debris moved so that crews can replace damaged tracks with new ones coming in today by the truckloads. As crews are working hard to get this rail line back up and running, this area is not just filled with their heavy machinery and trucks, but also with folks stopping by to get a first-hand look at what brought this small town to a halt yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it's really something to see.
With no hazardous materials leaking from the wrecked cars, folks able to get a much closer look.
Well, first time I saw it was on television, and couldn't believe how many cars were derailed. And we came out to see the derailment, take some pictures. Many
like Dennis Weber looking at the source of yesterday's commotion with camera in hand, amazed at the magnitude of the derailment firsthand. Even more amazed that everyone is okay.
Turned out pretty good, that nobody got hurt and wasn't any fires.
In Pendleton County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
CSX officials have not yet said when they hope to have the rail line reopened. Well, the weather is behaving like a broken record.
It is, isn't it? We continue to deal with steamy temperatures and a chance for storms. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with a check of your forecast.
And there's some kids out there going, what the heck's a broken record, huh? How about your iPod that is just stuck on the same song on repeat? But we are dealing with the potential for additional rounds of some showers and thunderstorms. A lot of steamy weather out there, too. Current heat index values are into the mid-90s. This is what it feels like to your body. Now, the actual temperatures are not bad at all. A lot of mid and upper 80s. I told you yesterday that your thermometer would lie to you. It's not about just the temperature, it's about that combination of a thermometer and the humidity out there, leading to a couple of scattered showers and some thunderstorms ongoing. We've got some stuff around Williamsburg, Corbin, London, over toward Manchester, a little action near West Liberty and Jackson, Bluegrass region. Not so much going on. A lot of that juice is still tied up across the deep south. Hour by hour this evening, whatever's out there, watch that timeline, 9, 10, 11 o'clock or so. A lot of that stuff begins to dissipate. But we are continuing to watch this big, slow-moving system across the Gulf Coast states. That has a ton of tropical juice with it. It's kind of taking the long road toward Kentucky. It's going to work its way toward the Mississippi Valley, up and around, and then right on into Kentucky and the Ohio Valley from late this weekend into early next week. And just ahead in about 5 minutes, ladies, we'll show you what that means for the extended forecast. Keep the umbrellas.
Chris, thank you. This morning, Lexington's homeless had a chance to share their struggles with a group focused on helping them.
It was the Street Voice Council's first meeting since a controversial social media site surfaced earlier this month. While the site tried to bring awareness to the issue, not everyone agreed with its methods. Today, many of the homeless who spoke say it's not representative of the entire community.
I don't want anybody sitting here talking about being hungry. Where'd she go? You don't have to be hungry today.
It's time to break bread at Central Christian Church.
They heard your voice, that Lex End Homeless Hate.
It's also a rare opportunity for the homeless and those in need to speak out.
We don't eat sometimes, we don't sleep sometimes. You know what I'm saying? There's bug bites all over 99% of us.
The Instagram page Limestone Bum Party brought the issue of homelessness to the forefront.
You know, I respect the frustration of limestone business owners. On the flip side, I also know and understand the challenges of being homeless.
I Googled the shelter that I've been staying in. Some of the comments on there was some of the most hateful things that I've ever seen in my life. Some people, we are mindless zombies.
We're people. Start treating us like it. We don't have diseases that you can catch. Homelessness is not a disease.
In the room are city leaders listening and searching for solutions.
We wanted them to understand that we do care what they think, and we do want to hear from them and do our best to meet their needs, hopefully get them housed and off the streets. That's our primary goal.
While it may be important to hear from city leaders, sometimes the most powerful voice comes from within.
Some of us go weeks without taking showers. You know what I'm saying? But we find a way, bruh. Find a way out of your situation. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Don't be victims all your life.
The Limestone Bum Party Instagram page has been taken down. There's a new social media campaign looking to combat hate with love by taking a picture with the hashtag #LexEndHomelessHate.
The father of a murdered Georgetown College graduate is filing a lawsuit in his daughter's death. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Scott County. Erica Hagan was killed in her apartment in Chile nearly 2 years ago. She moved there to teach English at a local college. Her accused killer was found not guilty. Chilean prosecutors appealed the acquittal but lost. The News Graphic reports Hagan's father has gotten a lawyer in Chile and plans to sue the school and prosecutors. In Knox County, deputies captured an escaped inmate. The sheriff's office says deputies found 22-year-old Jacob Riley hiding in a house trailer at Woolham Trailer Sales in Gray. He's accused of running off from work detail in California Hollow on Tuesday. Riley is charged with escape.
2 people have been confirmed dead and as many as 7 others are missing after an apartment explosion. Several dozen others, including 3 firefighters, were injured in Silver Spring, Maryland overnight. As Adam May shows us, investigators are trying to figure out what happened.
The explosion at a 4-story apartment complex in Silver Spring, Maryland was massive, shaking the surrounding area and scattering debris a couple hundred feet away.
At first we heard like a big boom, like a big loud noise, and my aunt went outside and checked, and then she saw like a lot of fire outside.
Hundreds of firefighters rushed to the chaotic scene just before midnight.
Firefighters responded and were met with heavy fire conditions and multiple rescues to be made. They went to work, did in fact make multiple rescues, and transported 31 people to the hospital.
Investigators haven't determined what caused the explosion. 3 firefighters were hurt, but all have been released from the hospital.
People trapped on 2nd and 3rd floor.
Several people remain missing as relatives wait for answers.
This is my aunt.
Melba Quezada's aunt and uncle live in the building and have not been located.
It's terrible because my grandma is waiting for news. She's very old, she's very sick, and it's hard for us to tell her your son may be dead.
Teams are working to secure the building, which is in danger of collapsing. Adam May for CBS News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Fire officials say there are natural gas furnaces and stoves in each of the apartment building's units. School started this week for hundreds of Kentucky students, but one lawmaker thinks it's just too soon for classes to begin. His proposal to change that ahead.
Getting a shot isn't a pleasant experience, especially for a child. What you can do to make it a little less painful in Better Living.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, here we are dealing with a little taste of the tropics across the Bluegrass State, and it's an interesting view on our sky cam because we've had the tropical sky. You walk outside and you feel like all of a sudden the Bluegrass State is the Sunshine State, but look at this sky cam, and then you see the bales of hay, and then you're reminded, oh yeah, it is actually the Bluegrass State, not the Sunshine State. Currently 89 out at the airport, 95 is what it feels like. Thank you. 55% humidity. At least we have a bit of a breeze coming at us from the south and the southwest. That breeze and the humidity teaming up to create a couple of thunderstorms and showers into southeastern Kentucky, starting now to blossom along Interstate 75. Much of Laurel County and right on top of Williamsburg. We have a little bit of light rain here on top of Williamsburg and points to the north. Now, that's a very small little cell near Lilly, Keavy, and just to the north of Corbin, some light rains. London, you're kind of bookending north and south with a couple of showers. North of East Bernstadt, lifting to the north. That'll impact parts of the Rockcastle and Jackson County line. Get into southeastern Kentucky, it's kind of isolated in nature, and all of a sudden now, past 15 minutes or so, noticing a little scattering of showers and thunderstorms on the Licking River Valley here into West Liberty in Morgan County. Back to the west into the Frenchburg area along 460. Get into central Kentucky, not so fast, nothing really going on out there. Lower Ohio Valley with the steam coming out of the Gulf of Mexico that is being pushed by this big twist and a lot of tropical rains that are off to our south and southeast. So over the next 3 days, we're going to be dealing with the possibility, increasing possibility of showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, very similar to today. Steamy. It's going to feel hotter than it actually says on the thermometer with some scattered storms, and those storms ramp it up a notch or 12 as we go into later Saturday and especially on Sunday with some heavy rainfall possible during that time. As we were talking about a little bit ago, potential is there, especially Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for any one day or multiple days during that time frame to be into the washout category. As of now, we'll keep stuff just below that until we can fine-tune when those waves of showers and storms come our way. Not going to rain all the time tomorrow, and as we said yesterday about today, some of you will not even see rain tomorrow. So you got that going for you. Then you get into later Saturday and Sunday, showers, thunderstorms will ramp up, and especially that late Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday time frame, heavy rains, a good possibility. All told, models continue to spit out the possibility of several inches of rain in the next week.
This may be a silly question, but do we need some rain? I mean, I know
Nope.
we've had. I know, but I feel like my plants need it right now. I haven't seen any in my house. I guess I'm talking about.
Tell
my
that to my yard right now,
Yeah.
all right? Because it's I need
growing.
I need a bush hog instead of a mower.
I feel like if you didn't get under one of these, you're kind of losing out. You know, and I have one of those in my
Amber's
house.
the one person in the state wanting some rain right now.
That geographical oddity right there.
That's right.
It's not hitting my house.
Can you change that?
5 look at Lexington rush hour traffic this afternoon. A crash at Walnut Hill and DeLong. Police are still on the scene. They're working that. And the exit ramp is still slow from I-75 to North Broadway. It's northbound 75. That ramp's just backed up. It looks like the light is short cycling. To Versailles, less than 15 minutes. To Nicholasville, about the same. Now back to you in the studio.
Is mid-August too early to start school? One state lawmaker thinks so. His proposal to change start dates ahead. And we're learning more about the victim of a Southern Kentucky crash, how his friends are remembering him on WKYT News at 5:30.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
It's still early August, but many Kentucky school districts have already started their new year.
One lawmaker thinks it's just too early to go back to school, and he wants to push back the dates. WKYT's Caitlin Sittner shows us the proposal and what one school superintendent thinks about it.
Kids just started school today in Scott County.
Hey boys and girls, how are you?
But if Senator Damon Thayer had it his way, they wouldn't be starting for a few more weeks.
These early August starts do not benefit our kids in the long run. For them to be in school during the hottest month of the year.
Last legislative session, Thayer co-sponsored a bill that would push the start back until at least after the state fair. He says the current start date hinders tourism in the Commonwealth.
They don't have kids to work, and they don't have families bringing their kids, whether it's a state park or a local swimming pool and everything in between.
We talked to Superintendent Kevin Hubb, who understands where the state legislator is coming from, but he doesn't necessarily agree.
The school calendar needs to remain local control. And I think for the communities who are impacted by an early school start date, maybe because they're losing some tourism dollars, because it's local control, those districts can start at a later date if they want to.
He's happy with where the start date is now.
And Holiday World, they've got the free soft drinks all day, don't they? Yeah.
Whereas Senator Thayer thinks breaks throughout the school year are disposable, Hubb thinks they're fully needed.
We push our teachers pretty hard, we push our students pretty hard, just like everybody else. It's nice to have a break now and then. Instead of disrupting education, I think oftentimes a break are a chance for students to increase their learning opportunities, to participate in enrichment activities.
Although Thayer's bill died in the House last session, he thinks it's got momentum.
A lot of other states do it, and I'm going to pursue that again when we get back in session in January.
In Scott County, Caitlin Sittner, WKYT.
Fayette County will meet this month to discuss pushing the start date back by a week.
A new study finds low-income Kentuckians feel healthier since the Affordable Care Act became law. Kentucky expanded Medicaid to everyone under the ACA. The study found Kentuckians were more likely to report good health than their counterparts in Texas, which did not expand Medicaid coverage. The Journal of American Medical Association published the study. The DEA has decided marijuana will be staying on its list of most dangerous drugs. After review, the agency determined it has no medical use in the United States. The DEA is expanding the number of research agencies that can legally grow marijuana. Currently, only the University of Mississippi can do that.
A popular and decades-old Walt Disney World attraction is leaving the Sunshine State. The electrical parade will march down the park's main street for the last time on Sunday, October 9th. After that date, the parade leaves Florida and returns to the Disneyland Resort in Southern California. It's a warning for drivers. Look out for debris, the danger it's causing on Kentucky roads on WKYT News at 5:30.
Making vaccinations easier on children and paying without a wallet. The option one store is planning to offer. The story's next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. As the Zika virus continues to spread, pregnant women have been advised to use insect repellent to prevent mosquito bites. We know Zika is dangerous to an unborn baby, but many women worry about the repellent too. Experts want pregnant women to know repellents with DEET are safe for you and your baby.
All of them have been evaluated for their safety. What we found for DEET is there is no sensitivity, extra sensitivity for pregnant women or for children from exposure to DEET. No products put on the market unless a safety evaluation is done and it's found to be safe.
Most research has been done on animals, but one study in pregnant women found insect repellent with 20% DEET used daily in the second and third trimester is safe. Vaccines play an important role in keeping your children healthy, but getting a shot is just no fun. Clark Powell shows us some ways to make the process as painless as possible.
All right, Frankie. 9-year-old Frankie Gowan is typically afraid to get his flu shot, but this buzzy bee with cold pack wings is helping change that. The bee can be used as an alternative to topical numbing medication, which takes 20 minutes to take effect, while a child's anxiety over getting the shot grows.
You barely feel it. Like,
you feel nothing. It's to sort of scramble the pain response that your body feels, so you feel the cold or the buzzing and not necessarily the pain from the injection.
The bee is one of several techniques that Dr. Melissa Winterhalter uses at Nationwide Children's Hospital to help kids and parents have a more pleasant experience with shots, and they vary with age.
Infants and newborns find a lot of comfort in being swaddled, using pacifiers, nursing or breastfeeding for pain reduction. Children respond well to distraction techniques, so playing music, singing, blowing bubbles. Older children like to have more control and know what's coming, so explaining the process to them, providing some guided imagery, talking about things that they like. If there's something that works for your child, we want the parents to tell us that. We really want it to be a teamwork, family-centered approach whenever we give vaccines to kids.
Having doctors, nurses, and parents on the same page will take the sting out of getting the flu shot for everyone.
Just try different things until you see what works. I think every kid is different, and the way that they approach shots and how they feel about shots is going to be different, but just try what you think is best as a parent.
At Nationwide Children's Hospital, this is Clark Powell reporting.
Soon you won't need a wallet to pay at CVS. CVS will start accepting payments via an app called CVS Pay. You can pay with a credit card or debit card using your smartphone. CVS Pay will be available in certain markets immediately. The payment option will go live nationwide by the end of the year. Now, here's what's coming up at 5:30.